Hello everyone, welcome to the CTV News on Calabash TV and on the Wave Radio 94.5. I am Sen Joseph. Well, there was thorough debate in the upper chamber of Parliament Tuesday as the Senate deliberated on the Economic Citizenship by Investment Bill. While there was support for the proposed program, there were also concerns about the impact on St. Lucia, its nationals and resources. Opposition Senator Mary Isaac, in an attempt to express her concern, was met with reprimand from the government side, a request from the President of the Senate that she discontinue the line of argument, eventually leading to the opposition senator asserting that the President had introduced his interpretation to the debate. Certainly, the exchange bore the hallmarks of the now infamous exchange that occurred in the lower house between Speaker of the House Peter Foster and Castries Southeast MP Guy Joseph without the rancor. Senator Mary Isaac boldly told the Senate that in her concern and curiosity, she turned to the internet to find out what type of people apply for such programs in other countries. Her search, she said, revealed names that are associated with ISIS, Boko Haram, and other like organizations. The statement immediately drew interruption.
The senator cannot stand in this house and say that based on the names of people that she sees applying for citizenship in other countries, these are names normally associated with Boko Haram and with ISIS and with Al-Qaeda. That is discrimination, and I dare use the word ignorance of the highest order. And that is the sort of discrimination that is being fought against in all arenas. That's the sort of discrimination that pulls out somebody like Senator King from a lineup and says that he fits a particular profile and he should be strip searched. And for this Senate, and for a member of this Senate to stand here and to say that having looked at the name of someone, and because the person probably carries the name Mohammed or some other name associated with a particular cultural group, that associates that person with terrorist activities is not the sort of activity, is not the sort of language or not the sort of thinking that should be tolerated in the Senate. So that is my point of order, Mr. President.
Senator Isaac, I would accept that point. It's the next person you're going to dissociate is the President of the United States, whose middle name is Hussein. So I would accept that point that it does impute sort of discrimination by virtue of name.
And Mr. President, I wish I could have made the list available, but I did not mention any names specifically. I said some of the names I saw are often used are names that a lot of them are similar to names that are associated with Boko Haram, ISIS, and those other groups.
Mr. President,
I was not specific. I heard people mention Hussein, and I would not have done that, Mr. President.
But Senator, clearly the point being made as well is that those people's names are also associated with very prominent families. There was a plane crash earlier in the week, which 3 members of the Bin Laden family were killed. That didn't make those 3 people terrorists because their names were Bin Laden. So I think the point is taken. I don't think you should pursue that.
Thank you, Mr. President. But for the record, I wish to say that I have not said the word terrorist in my mouth in this House today. But thank you for the caution, Mr. President. Mr. President, I would not interpret it that way. You have interpreted it. I accept that. And if I may move on, Mr. President. Thank you.
In continuing her contribution, Senator Isaac pointed to the lack of clarity in certain aspects of the bill and questioned why there was no stated purpose for the National Economic Fund, which would be financed through the Economic Citizenship Program.
And this is where sometimes we allow a little room for people to maneuver, and that is where the corruption creeps in. We cannot leave things hanging. We cannot leave things so loose. We have to tie it down in the legislation or in the regulations, unless the regulations are going to speak to that. But we don't know because we don't have the regulations. And then we have clause 34.1, 34 subsection 1, An applicant may also be required to attend an interview in St. Lucia. 34 subsection 2, clause 34 subsection 2. It says an applicant may also be required to attend an interview in St. Lucia. I would hate to think that all of this is happening. We are preparing to give somebody citizenship, and we have not had one interview with the person in St. Lucia. I'm hoping that this is not what this says, because in my mind, if we are going to be given citizenship to an applicant, to an investor, we must have an interview with that investor at some point in St. Lucia. So we have to show commitment there by saying shall and not may. So again, I believe that we need to step back and look at all these issues.
An independent Senator Dr. Stephen King, for his part, acknowledged the economic challenges facing the country and the need to think outside the box for solutions. However, he told the Senate that government must be wary of the quick fix. There should be no haste, he said, in passing legislation. Rather, time should be spent on outlining a comprehensive development policy. Dr. King also pointed out that the question of why persons would seek such citizenship must be asked.
Maybe for safe haven reasons, geopolitical reasons. They may be escaping a difficult circumstance in their home country. It may be that they want to travel more easily. They want a passport that can take them places and their family places for social as well as for business reasons. And they may find that their original passport from their country doesn't give them that facility. And they think that ours would. They may be looking for business opportunity. Yes, in our very country. They may appreciate that being a citizen of St. Lucia would allow them to participate in our economy, and it's good for them business-wise. They may be looking at estate planning, where they're putting their monies for their children and their children's children. Or alternatively, on the darker side, as the leader of government business said, they may have criminal intent. Their intentions may be very dishonorable. They may be terrorists, they may be money launderers, they may be escaping justice from their homeland. So clearly, we have to be very careful and deliberate as to how we move forward.
Dr. King nonetheless lauded the government for the various options contained in the program, that is, investment by way of bonds, contribution to the National Economic Fund, real estate, or investment in business. The independent senator, however, felt the proposed legislation did not go far enough.
If we're looking at bonds, you know what, I would like to see some more detail, and that's why I think the policy needs to be fleshed out some more before we put the legislative environment in place. Because to me, we're being asked today to pass the legislation and then we will do our homework. I prefer to do it the other way. Let's do our homework and then pass the legislation. The legislation is at the end. And I think the leader of government business at one point in time pointed that out to me, I think in the last meeting, that legislation is at the end of the process. And I agree with him. It's the end of the process. To me, we have not come to the end of fleshing out this citizenship by investment as we should or could. So like, for instance, the bonds. Why don't we have special development bonds? Maybe it's a 25-year bond. Maybe it's a very minuscule interest rate, a 2% interest rate. So you invest in that. We know you with us for 25 years. You're invested. We understand it, and you can sell it at a particular threshold. Why not when we talk about the contribution to the National Economic Fund, you can go back to our very own Finance Act. I think I have it here, where yes, under the Chapter 1501, the Finance Administration Act, in Section 9, special funds. But also, interestingly enough, there's an account I really like called the Development Program Account, where it says that the funds, the grants, the loans, the bonds, whatever revenues are raised, shall be for a specific developmental program. I very much like that and would like to see that activated so we can be assured that the monies coming in for citizenship by investment are linked to our developmental program. Because I think the developmental program is really what's important. How you finance it then is a set of strategies, of which this could be one.
Meantime, the Senate welcomed a new member Tuesday. That's attorney Thaddeus Antoine. He was sworn in as a government senator in the absence of Housing Minister Stanley Felix, who is on leave. In his maiden debate, Senator Antoine underscored the importance of the economic citizenship program to the local economy as government battles a widening deficit.
I hear people say, but St. Lucia's economy is not moving. We're not attracting investment. Look at St. Kitts. They're attracting investment. Look at Antigua. They are now attracting investment. And I ask why? And you know, Mr. President, 3 words. Citizenship by investment. St. Kitts attracts hotels because all investors want these days. When they come to you, do you have an economic program? That's the first thing they ask you because it's a form of investment. Mr. President, while some say that we're selling passports, I take a different view to that. And I recognize Senator King said so as well. He takes a different view. We're not selling passport. We're about citizenship. I see this piece of legislation augmenting primarily 2 existing forms of legislation we have in the country. The tourism industry, the legislation we have for the tourism industry, and the legislation we have for the financial services industry. And I heard Senator King speak about linkages. And this is where linkages come in. With the tourism industry, at the moment, we need some 2,000 additional rooms to grow the industry. We're not there. We need some 2,000 additional rooms, our studies have shown. How do you get investment in? Investors are no longer willing to go to a financial institution who will charge them interest rates with all the bureaucracy of borrowing. But you know what? They will come to your country. You will approve an area for them. You will approve a development for them. And they will put down infrastructure. And you will find an ultra high net worth individual come into your country and purchasing whether it's a villa, which is part of a resort, a condo, or whether they're buying shares. And that in turn will be financing that hotel development.
This is stressed would create jobs and services and increase government revenue. On the query of safety and security, Senator Antoine pointed to the fact that St. Lucia, as a player in the offshore financial services sector, is no stranger to dealings demanding due diligence. In his profession, he said he has come across several due diligence reports that go beyond what the ordinary man believes it to be.
The report starts from the time the person is in the womb. It speaks about who your parents are, who your parents dated, who they fraternized with, even before you're born. And it goes on any visa you're prevented from, you're revoked or prevented from getting, any passport you've held, any citizenship you've held, any place you've stayed for more than 180 days. It's all in the report. Every single thing about you is in that report. And it has to be a very confidential report. But due diligence is not new to us, Mr. President. We have the Financial Services Regulatory Authority, the FSRA, which regulates the offshore sector. And they use the very intelligent companies to keep our jurisdiction safe. And no greater evidence is the recent report by the European Commission, which blacklisted several countries in the world, including European countries, and St. Lucia was spared. And that is because of the good work of Calix Leon, Natalie D'Souza, or the FSRA and the team. Mr. President, we must believe in our people. We must believe in our people, and we have the capacity to do great things and the right things. There it is, the FSRA of St. Lucia is able to ensure that we sift out criminal elements and to ensure to keep our jurisdiction safe. There's no greater testimony than the ability of our people to do great things.
Now, emphasizing the winning nature of the economic citizenship program, government senators Deborah Tobier spoke of the various niches St. Lucia can tap into.
Persons who are investing in real estate would want to know that they can actually reside legally. What obtains currently is that somebody who is investing in real estate, and we have a pretty substantial expat community, they would have to keep on extending and requesting extensions from an immigration perspective. However, with a program like this, they would look at it as something that is more enticing. I have a particular, if I can speak from a personal perspective, Mr. President, there are clients that we have engaged at the moment who reside in Trinidad, but they're Canadian national. And they're looking at and weighing the options. Maybe perhaps they would consider investing in, continuing to invest in Trinidad and retiring, but they have certain concerns about the climate, the environment, as well as the level of crime. And they're of retirement age. So they are seriously considering coming to St. Lucia to invest. And that was one of the first questions that was posed. Obviously, this is a very, very timely rollout as far as what it offers in way of opportunity for that type of investor.
Senator Tobey also believes that the program provides an excellent opportunity for the south of the island to be developed with amenities and facilities comparable to the north.
I reside, of course, in the south of the island, and we always bemoan the fact that although we would like to attract a certain type of investor to the south, we know that we're lacking in a lot of the basic amenities. We don't have the sort of nightlife and entertainment. We don't have the restaurants, gourmet restaurants, and the other movie facilities, etc., that we know are in the north. However, this type of investment means that we could maybe have a more equal distribution of investment, because obviously if you have individuals coming in either through retirement or through major investment themselves, it would mean that they would require those types of services. So that would also create a catalyst in that area.
But the leader of the opposition business, Sen Joseph, was less expectant, noting that the island has not seen any significant investment for some 10 years. He took a swipe at the Labour administration, laying blame at its doorstep.
Is that true when we have members in Parliament saying that they're going to write investors and tell investors not to come to St. Lucia? Who's doing it is? You was not aware of that? If you're not aware of that, as a budding politician, be aware. The task force, Mr. President, he said, had a report. Yes, I agree, the report. But the question is, after the report of the task force, was it circulated for people to review it? Did people have an opportunity to make their own contributions? I'm not aware of it. In fact, I must say, I can remember receiving a copy of that report as a senator. So if I can stand in this honorable house and say I can remember receiving a copy of that report, what about the ordinary St. Lucians after the task force has gone through the process and make the respective recommendations? And that is why people have the wrong thinking and the wrong mindset when it comes to this piece of this act, this bill.
Senator Joseph queried the non-inclusion of the regulations in the bill while highlighting the importance of having Parliament play a more integrated role in the oversight of the program.
If it's the most important part of this act, why has it not been brought to the Parliament? Why? I'm just saying what yours. I'm just quoting you all because I'm listening to you all. I listen to you all. The most important part. So what are you saying that this act is not important? And if it's not important, why we should be discussing? Why shouldn't we be given an opportunity to discuss the most important part? But what Section 40 is saying, subject to the approval of Cabinet, not Parliament.